Today's video is a video response to Richard's question. Richard, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to do that, buddy. Richard asks, do I still have the OEM tires? And if so, how are they holding up? And I think it's an excellent question just following the most recent update I just threw out about having to buy a new set of tires. I thought it was freaky coincidence. So let me go ahead and make a response, Richard. Obviously I don't have the OEM tires on the Zuma 125 anymore. I had to buy a new set of tires. I went ahead and bought the Michelin Bopper tires, scooter tires, and it's my second set of Michelin Boppers. I can speak about the OEM tires on the Zuma 50F that I used to have. I got about 6,000 miles on the stock tires. They were these really thick, knobby tires, and on a nice smooth road, you can actually feel how knobby they were. They're like, you can feel the gaps in between the little bumps on the tires. So it definitely wasn't a smooth tire, but it was a decent tire. It held up for about 6,000 miles. I think that's good. After the 6,000 miles, I went ahead and bought my first pair of Michelin Bopper tires, and I could notice the difference right away over the stock tires. The Michelin tires are a smooth, slick tire compared to the knobby tires on the stock 50F, so it's a much smoother, more comfortable ride from the beginning. Also, it has nice grip and nice traction on the tire, so I noticed that in cornering, I can corner harder and I can corner faster on the 50F compared to the stock tires it used to have. I also noticed a little bit of performance gains in terms of top speed because it has a lower rolling resistance and it's a smooth, slick tire versus this knobby tire that creates a lot of road resistance. I got like 2 to 3 miles more per hour on my top speed with the Michelin Bopper tires than I did over the stock tires on the Zuma 50F. How long did it last? I don't know. I sold the Zuma 50. I sold it at around 11,000 miles. So I had about 5,000 miles on the Michelin Bopper tires, and I think they still had a lot of good life left on it. They weren't nowhere near being replaced, but they weren't nowhere near being used. So I'm almost sure, almost positive, I would have got more than 6,000 miles on the Michelin Bopper tires. Now, the OEM tires on the Zuma 125 are also knobby. Not as knobby as they were on the 50F, but it is a different brand. And unfortunately, I can't speak to the life of that brand because I had a flat tire on Highway 1, so I had to buy a new set of tires. And I like the Michelin so much that I bought a second pair. I was considering another set of tires, the Michelin City Grip tires, which also have great reviews. And they have great wet road condition traction. I'll throw a little picture of them up here, and you can see that there's a lot of thread, there's a lot of grooves, there's a lot of places where the water can be channeled out, and you can get a lot of traction on wet condition roads. I decided to go with the Michelin Bopper tires again because I don't really need wet road tires. I'm up here in Northern California. It doesn't rain that much out of the year. It's just a few months out of the year, and yeah, we might get some heavy storms, but if it's raining, I'm not riding just because it's uncomfortable. You get wet, it's a pain in the ass, safety issues, your helmet fogs up. So I decided to go with another pair of Michelin Bopper tires, and I'm getting the same performance gains as I did on the 50 as I am getting on the 125, or I'm getting the same performance gains as I did on the 50. Here's a picture of the Michelin Bopper tires. You can see that it's a nice, smooth, slick tires compared to the original knobby tire. So I'm getting a couple miles more per hour on my top speed. I'm getting better traction in the corners, lower riding resistance, so a little bit more efficient in terms of my miles per gallon. So I think it's a great set of scooter tires, especially if you got great weather all year round. You don't really need wet riding condition tires. I will mention that in the first couple of weeks when I bought my first set on the 50F, we had a big storm come in and it rained for a few days, and I had to be on the scooter because it was my daily. It's the only way I can get to work. And partly because they were new tires and they weren't broken in, and partly because they're slick tires, these tires suck on wet road conditions. Coming up to red lights, even on my little 50cc going 30-35 miles an hour, coming up to a red light, if I would brake a little heavy, I can feel my tire slide out. And there's a couple times when I was heavy on the back end, on the rear brake, and I can feel my rear tire slide out on me a little bit, and I'm like, oh, holy fucking shit. So a little bit of that had to do because they were new tires, because they're slick tires, and because they were wet road conditions. So I was like kind of sketchy about that. But I think that's really the only flaw. Other than that, they're great reviews on Motorcycle Superstore. They have great reviews on Revzilla.com. I think it's a great set of tires. And they're a great price too. They're not that expensive for the performance gains you get. But Richard, I hope that answers your question. I am no longer on the stock tires. I am on the Michelin Bopper tires. I think they're a great set of tires. They're inexpensive, they get great reviews, they're a name brand Michelin tire. You're gonna get more, they're a lot more efficient, a smooth, comfortable ride, a couple miles more per hour, and a couple miles more per gallon in terms of your scooter. So if you're looking out for a nice dry road performance tires, I think the Michelin Bopper tires are great tires. Thanks for asking. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know. If you have a topic for a motovlog, feel free to ask. If you want to make a request for a song to be featured in a montage, I'll see if I can find a cool remix that I like and throw it in there for you guys. But thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching.
Subject detected.